Hi guys, welcome back to the continuation of my sewing video. If you are new here, my name is Amanda and I already have the pattern tutorial for this on my channel. So this is where we got in the first sewing video. Okay, after joining the pieces together, this is what I had. Next thing I'm going to be doing is to join it to the body of the corset. Okay, so just place the center piece here and pin it down. Okay, you're going to be pinning it all round. So I made a notch at the center of that particular part, and then I pinned the center to the center seam or the center front seam. Next I pin the side to the side, and then the back parts to the back, so that I can pin any other part. Okay, I'm going to be repeating the same thing on the other side. Make sure the side seam is on the side seam, and then the center back is on the center back. Okay, after pinning all the sides together, now you can go ahead and pin every other part. Okay, this makes pinning easy so that you don't stress yourself pulling from one side to the other. Okay, so after pinning them together, I'll go ahead and then take it to my machine and stitch. Okay, so when you pin, you are going to be getting excess at this particular part. Do not worry, when you are stitching, make sure you stretch it. You'll be okay. Okay, it's because of the dart intake for the main body. So after stitching, this is what I have. Okay, after joining the nets to the body of the corset, this is what I have. Next thing I'm going to be doing is to join the lining. You can decide to sandwich this, but then it's always advisable to take this step or do it this way so that you know you are on the right track. After joining it to the main fabric, when putting the lining on top of it, you know exactly where you are pinning and exactly where you are stitching. Okay, that is the main reason why I do it this way. So when you are pinning the lining to the main body, make sure each seam is facing each seam. Make sure the center is facing the center, the side seam is facing the side seam, and then the seams for the boning channels are also meeting. Okay, so at this part, I'm making sure the center front is meeting the center front, the beginning of the cap is meeting the other side of the cap, in that order, so that everything will take shape or come out nicely. Okay, always take your time and do it. That is the only way you can achieve a neat and nice finished work. Okay, so at this point I'm almost done pinning, and after pinning I'll take it to my machine and stitch. Okay, I'll be following the line I used for the main body. Okay, so I went ahead to stitch, and I'm going to be joining the center back pieces together as well. I already marked my half and quarter, so I'll go ahead and stitch, and then after that I'm going to be snipping all round so that it makes turning easy. Okay, after snipping all around, I'll go ahead and cut out the excess fabric. Okay, since this is 1/2 inch, I'll be needing just about quarter to secure my stitches. So after that, I'll go ahead and then trim off the excess from it so that when I turn, it doesn't become bulky. Okay, that is the only reason why I am cutting out. So after cutting out, this is what I have. After cutting out and then turning it out, this is what I have at the moment. You can see the corset is already taking shape. I'm going to be creating another boning channel at that particular part. Okay, where I'll be creating my eyelet. Okay, so after creating my boning channel, I went ahead to cut out my bone. Make sure the bone is 1 inch shorter than the main boning channel. Okay, and after that I went ahead to insert the bone. So I'm going to be repeating the steps on every other part, and at the center I'm using a regular bone or a sewable bone because that is where I'll be putting the buttons. Okay, so if I use a plastic bone, it's going to be difficult to stitch on top of it. So that is the reason why I am using a regular bone only at the center front, the two boning channels at the center front, and any other part where you'll be inserting a bone, make sure you are using the plastic bone. Okay, that is what you're supposed to do. After that, I'll go ahead and press it down with steam so that the boning will lie flat. Remember, I didn't press my bone before inserting it, so after inserting, I'll go ahead and press it down so that it takes the shape of my corset. Next thing I'm going to be doing is to pin all the seams together for the lower part of the corset, okay, before I stitch. What I'm going to be doing is to use this bias to finish the lower part of my corset. Okay, so this is a 1-inch bias. Open it up and then follow the pressed line or the folded lines, okay, and then pin it to your corset. When you are pinning, make sure you are joining the seam of the corset and then the lining together before you pin. So at the beginning, make sure you fold your bias on top of it like this. Okay, make sure it goes round to the back or the lining part of the corset before you pin, so that when you stitch you can finish the raw edge of the corset. When you get to the other side, you do the same thing. Okay, so after pinning, I'll go ahead and take it to my machine and stitch about 1/2 inch there. Okay, so after stitching, just turn it over like this and then pin it down. Okay, so I'm going to be pinning it down before I hem. Okay, I'm going to be using a needle and a thread to hem it. Okay, so this is how it goes, just like you are hemming a dress. Okay, you pick the lining and then you pick the bias in that order. Okay, you pick just a thread from the lining and then you sew it to the bias. Okay, so you are going to be repeating this step through to the end. Okay, take your time and do this. We actually can't top stitch because of the plastic boning. That is the only reason why we are hemming. Okay, so this is how I pinned it down. I realized I didn't show it earlier. Okay, so when you are pinning and you see any excess, make sure you trim it off before you fold it on and then you pin. So you have to pin it all down and make sure everything is all right before you can hem. So like I said, because of the boning, we can't stitch. So after hemming, you should be getting something like this, very neat. Next thing I'm going to be doing is to create the holes for my eyelet. So from the upper part, I came down by 1/2 inch. Okay, and from that 1/2 inch, I came down by 1 inch all through to the end. Okay, so from the upper part, you come down by 1/2 inch, and then from that 1/2 inch, every other part is 1 inch, or you can decide to place the eyelet the way you want it. So at this point, I'm using my soldering iron to burn or create the holes for my eyelet. Okay, so when you are using the soldering iron to create, make sure you make it small, not as big as your eyelet. Okay, otherwise it might become very big. So after that, I'm going to be inserting my eyelet. You realize the eyelet won't enter because the hole is smaller than the eyelet. All you have to do is to use your scissors to open it. Okay, and then your eyelet will enter. So you put your scissors in just to create space in the hole so that you can fix your eyelet. So I'm going to be repeating the same step all around and then fix eyelet. If you don't know how to fix an eyelet, I have the tutorial on my channel, so you can check that out. Next thing I'm going to be doing is to measure the neck. Okay, I'm going to be creating my collar. So you are going to be measuring the neck about 3 times so that you can choose one suitable measurement for the neck. Okay, so I went ahead to pin it down to get an accurate measurement. Okay, and when you are measuring, make sure you are not pulling it. Do not pull because this fabric stretches, and when you pull, you'll be adding excess to it. Okay, so this is what I had about 9.75. That is what I'm going to be using. So from the beginning of the paper, I'm going to be marking that 9.75. Note the neck was folded into 2, so this is going to be cut on fold. Okay, next is to divide that line into 2. Okay, so whatever you have, divide it into 2 and mark it down like I have done. The width of my collar is going to be 2.5 inches. If you want a bigger collar, you can make it 3, okay? But 2.5 is what I used. So after that, at this point, I went up by 1 inch, and after that, I'll mark my 2.5 inches. This is because I want to create something like a curve on the collar, okay? So you get something like this. Next thing I'm going to be doing is to come up by 1/2 inch at the side, and I'm going to be connecting it to this point just like this. So this is all you need to do for the collar. Okay, next thing I'm going to be doing now is to cut it on my Ankara fabric. Note we need 4 pieces for this, 2 for one side, 2 for the other side. We are using the same fabric to do the lining. Okay, after this, next thing I'm going to be doing is to stitch on that side to the other side. Okay, note we are not stitching the back. So after that, I went ahead to snip it so that it becomes easy to turn. Okay, it will lie down flat after turning. So this is what I have now. I'm going to be pressing it down so that it becomes flat. Okay, this is what I have. After pressing, we are going to be folding the back in by 1/2 inch. Okay, the part that goes to the back, remember we folded 1/2 inch for the main body, so we have to do the same thing for the collar as well. Next thing I'm going to be doing is to cut out the fabric for the button, and then the width is 3.5 inches. The length depends on the length of your top. Okay, so whatever the length of your top is, make sure you add about 2 inches to it. Next thing I did was to fold it into 2 like this and then press. Okay, it has to be pressed so that it becomes nice, since it's going to be at the front. After dividing it into 2 by pressing, you are going to be pressing the other side in and the other side in like this. Okay, and then after, I'll press or put them together like this with a finished end. Okay, after pressing, I'll take it to my machine and stitch on both sides. I'm going to be stitching on both sides like this. This is where I'm going to be placing my patterns. Take note. So what I'm going to be doing is to fold the center into 2 like this. I want to get the center, so I'm folding the shoulders together so that I can snip or notch the center. Okay, after getting the center, all you are going to be doing is to pin it from the neck area to the hem. Okay, so after you pin it down, you are going to stitch on the 2 lines we stitched earlier before placing it on top. Okay, that is basically it. So that is it. After that, the next thing I'm going to be doing is to fix this to the neck, and then the back, we are going to be folding 1/2 inch in on both sides. Okay, this is it. So this is the 1/2 inch I folded in on both sides. We are going to be fixing our loops over there, so make sure you do that. Next, you are supposed to fix the collar on it, but if you fix it this way, it's not going to work out. So you are going to turn it and fix it at the wrong side. Okay, make sure you notch the center of the Ankara fabric at the center front so that you can place the collar at the center. Okay, so after placing it, I'll pin it at the center and then at the center back, pin it at the center front and then the center back before you pin any other part. Okay, so that is basically it. So after fixing the collar on one side, I'll go ahead and fix it on the other side. Okay, so that when you fix it, it can lie down like this. Okay, it can lie down like this and then finish the raw edges at the neck area. I'll be repeating the same thing on this side like I said earlier, and after that show you what I have. Okay, next thing to do is to fix these loops on the back. So I'm going to be using it to measure the length I'm supposed to use. Okay, so place it on top like this and then cut it out to your preferred length or the length you have to insert in. Okay, so after getting it, this is how you are going to insert it in, and all you have to do is stitch. Okay, you can insert it in the collar or in between the mesh and the collar. It depends on you. So after that, I'm going to pin it down and then take it to my machine and stitch. Okay, so you can actually fix this on either side, either the right side or the left side. It doesn't really matter because I always don't check when I fix, but then it comes out nice. So either this can be on the right and then the buttons can be on the other side. Okay, so this is it. Another way you can do this is to top stitch the upper part so that it will lie down flat before you insert your loops. Okay, either ways it will work for you. Okay, so next thing I'm going to be doing after fixing my loops is to fix the buttons. Okay, so you are going to be counting the number of loops you have to know the number of buttons you are fixing. So first you have to stitch the fabric itself to secure it before you put in the loop. Before you put in the buttons and then stitch. Okay, you need to stitch it as many as possible to make sure it is firm. Okay, so after stitching this, I'll go ahead and stitch the rest of it. So I was trying it at this point to see if everything is okay, and I loved it. Okay, so next thing you're going to be doing is to fix all. This is the final part of it. Okay, so what I initially did was to put my buttons at the upper part and stitch with thread and needle like we do for our buttons. Okay, but then I realized when I get to where the bone is, it's not going to work. I can't put the needle through the bone. Okay, so what I did was to mark. Initially I marked 1 inch intervals. Okay, but then I realized it was close, so I ended up using 2 inches. But then you can play with your buttons and decide how many inches or the intervals you want to. So after making the marks, I used a glue gun. Okay, I used a glue gun to fix the button since I can't stitch through the bone. Okay, so you just have to apply your glue gun to the intervals you created and then you place your buttons on top of it. Okay, that is what I did. So like I said, I use 2 inches intervals. You can decide to use 1 or 1.5. It all depends on you and what you want. So this is the end of the tutorials. I hope you enjoyed it. Don't forget to like, comment, and share my videos. And don't forget to subscribe to my channel to get notified whenever I post my videos. Thanks for watching. Bye.